Good evening, Pmcvay here. Take a few minutes tonight to speak to you about my philosophy on education, which is primarily coming off of Horace Mann, who is the one I probably most identified with out of the philosophers we talked about in the textbook. Universal education, big thing that basically everybody's in. Um, believe that currently, uh, opposed to what a lot of people also applies to college. It doesn't mean it's free, but pretty much everybody in the United States has access to college as long as they're willing to sign a loan. So I think we've got pretty much universal education up through college as well. And I don't have a problem with that because people who graduate college make more money. They should be able to afford to pay for college once they've graduated. I do think there's a lot of things that should be done to lower the cost of college, and that's a separate discussion that we can get into. But I think our system is pretty well set up for universal education. My idea of what education should provide is primarily moral and productive members for society for the next generation. So that's what we're trying to accomplish, or what I see us trying to accomplish. The big benefit of universal education is that it leads to upward mobility, more of a meritocracy than an aristocracy, where people can advance based on what they know, how hard they work, and what they accomplish as they go through their lives. So that's an important concept. I do believe that children should be taught ethics and civics without regards to religion or political affiliation. So no indoctrination. The religious thing is not too much of a problem right now. If anything, our schools are pretty much agnostic. The political side of that is a bigger issue, getting bigger all the time. Elementary, high school, it's there. When you get into college, it's almost universal. There's a far liberal bias on most college campuses that make it very difficult for a conservative to even be heard on campus. So essentialism is one of the things I believed in. It basically states that some subject matter is more important than others. So math, science, history, ethics are very important. Um, the big reason for me on that is that those subjects tend to be more important for either future education, if you want to go forward, or for the workplace and careers on actual valued or uh, skills and knowledge that has applicability to the real world. So that's important to allow our students to be upwardly mobile and be successful in life. I believe the students should understand the subject matter. So don't try and memorize it or force children to memorize things. We should teach them how to think, not what to think. And problem solving skills, decision making, and reflective thinking should be the real thing we're trying to come out of a educational program with, besides the subject matter that we're teaching. Those are things that they can use throughout their lives to make them successful. I believe that lectures are a key part of education, but they should be combined with experiential learning, group activities, new kinds of technology. They should be used to teach the subject matter. Um, Lots of exciting things going on with technology when we get into individualized learning. Um, Basically, technology and artificial intelligence are coming up with programs that can basically work with a student, and as they answer questions or work through a program, they determine where the weaknesses are and key on additional learning exercises and additional questions in those areas. So rather than redoing a whole chapter because you didn't understand one small portion, the program will allow the student just to rework that small section until they've gained the required skills and abilities. So, big advancement that I think is going to be huge in the future. So that's a good thing. Last but not least, I do not believe that only teachers and schools can fail and that students can't. I believe teachers and schools need to provide uh, equal opportunity for education, and I do think that they should be making reasonable accommodations for students that have special needs, whether those be physical, mental, emotional issues with how they behave, all those things. We should try and help those students as much as possible. But I do not believe that that's solely on the schools if those children do not get a good education. I believe that the parents, families, other social institutions need to come forward and help with those as well. So whatever the schools can do, that's a definite positive. But I don't believe that the schools are totally accountable and that somebody should sue the school because their child graduated and didn't have a proper education. That's pretty much all I've got. If you have any thoughts, agree, disagree, drop me a line on the discussion board. Thanks. Appreciate your time. Bye.